Hey everyone, so today I thought I'd share a tool tip on scissors with everyone. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I carry with me and use a kind of a unique pair of scissors that are stainless steel surgical operating scissors. And not everyone probably knows about these or has them. And I would venture to guess I'm probably one of the few robot builders that has and use these types of scissors. Now the reason why I know about them and use them and have so many is because back in the 80s when I was a young little robot builder, I couldn't stay away, couldn't resist using my grandmother's sewing scissors. Now I was told not to use her scissors because it would, damage them. What she would do is she would sew all year long, and she would make lap robes, which were like little blankets. So she would quilt and sew and make these lap quilts, and then give them away to nursing homes for like patients that like didn't have families and stuff, and so every families like that, or the patients there rather, would get these custom homemade quilted blankets that my grandmother would sew. But she had these really sharp little scissors, and when I was a little robot builder, I couldn't resist the scissors because I absolutely had to have them for wire cutting and cardboard cutting and stuff like that for my projects. So what ended up happening is I ended up ruining a couple of her scissors, and so finally she ended up giving me a pair that I ruined, and then kind of made the deal with me like, okay, now that you got a pair, you got to leave my other scissors alone, or you're going to be in trouble. So I left her other scissors alone. But my grandmother, the reason why she had so many of these scissors is because she was a nurse, and she was a surgical nurse, and she became one during World War II. And she was a surgical nurse in the Veterans Association in the beginning, kind of a program that came up because of the war. And a few weeks ago here in the U.S. we had Veterans Day, so it's kind of topical to bring that up, that she kind of served during that time. But so that's how I came to know about these scissors, and that from my connection with my grandmother. So after my grandparents passed, then I inherited all of the scissors, and I use them, and it kind of keeps me connected to my grandmother that way. But what they are called stainless steel operating scissors, and the good news about them is that they are readily available. This is a screenshot from an Amazon listing, and the type that I actually have a variety, but the most common that I have are these longer blade dull end kind that are like this. And you'll notice that some of the listings here, like this first listing on Amazon, it listed as nursing scissors that are straight, but it also says surgical stainless steel. So the listings, if you read through them, they do kind of vary, but they are, if you do a search for stainless steel operating scissors, you'll find the right kind. And you'll notice that the different scissors, they have a dull blade and they have a sharp blade. And the scissors that I have, some of them do have sharp points and some of them have dull points. The kind that I like have the longer blade and have the dull point like this, whereas the sharper ones tend to have a shorter blade. But these pointy ones that have the shorter blade, they can be really good if you have if you're working with any kind of like model working or plastic working where you need to do a real sharp surgical cut, and you might be used to using like an X-Acto knife or something like that. You might want to try getting a pair of these type of scissors and replacing it, because you can do real precise little surgical cuts instead of using an X-Acto knife. You might be surprised what you can do with that kind of work, because after all, this is designed for surgical work. So it you might surprise yourself what you can do with scissors instead of using, maybe some of the traditional tools you're used to. And then of course now, back from way back in the day when my grandmother would have been a nurse, there's new materials available that the scissors are made of, like titanium. I don't have any that are made like that, but you can see here a listing of titanium. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is that here's a listing for what's called trauma shears, or this will also come up as nursing scissors, where you see the bend in it. This is what you do not want. This is what I don't have these. So this would be more for like cutting off bandages, or like the IV tape stuff, or cutting off like clothes on a victim or something. That's what nurses would use these kind of scissors for. This isn't what you want. It's these type of scissors that are what I'm recommending, because they will cut through wire, they will cut all kinds of adhesives and tapes really well, they will cut plastic, surprisingly. They will trim through plastic very well. So that's what I wanted to share, because very often I've been in situations where I've brought out my scissors and then cut through stuff, and people are will look at them and they'll be like, "Oh, these are really neat scissors. These are weird. I've never seen these kind of scissors. What are these?" And then I'll kind of mention like, "Oh, well, they're got them from my grandmother or whatever," and they're like, "Well, that's kind of cool." So thanks for watching.